So once again, remember in this kind of set of videos, we're talking about theory versus fact. We discovered that the carbon-14 dating, it was based on the facts we have now. It's different, and it can't measure millions of years, and now it measures thousands of years. Okay. So then we have another area that we use to date the Earth. Okay, it's called geological stratus dating. So what we did was, we found fossils. Okay, we found preserved parts of existing life. So if we found a fossil, something in here, okay, whatever kind of fossil here, and we found something 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 here, then we looked at the layer, okay, of sediments and the layer of dirt that formed, okay. And so if we found a fossil, then we could age that stratus. Stratus meaning level of layers, okay? Level of layers, okay? So if we found something, so here's fossil number 1, number 2, and so forth, okay? 3, 4, and here's number 5 down here, okay? So this one is number 4, whatever, number 3. Okay, so what did we do? We took this fossil. Now look at how this one is up in the air. So we can't say that if it's so many feet down from the Earth it's so old, because we get these what's called folds in the Earth, and we get all the curvatures. So we can't just dig down. So geological stratus dating is where we find a fossil in a particular stratus layer. But then guess how we determine how old the fossil is? Oh, well, the stratus layer thing sounds pretty good, okay? But guess how we decide how old the fossil is? Carbon-14 dating. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's kind of messing us up, okay? Because if we thought this was 2 million years old, okay? Then guess what happens? Then number 4 had to be older than 1 million. And number 5 had to be older than 2 million. And number 5 had to be older than number 4. So we said, yeah, they kind of knew carbon-14 didn't go forever, but wherever they knew, like if they knew what this one was, then they just knew that was older and that was older. So what did scientists do? Okay, what did scientists do? Where is our greatest accumulation of geological stratus in the world, actually? Okay, in this Grand Canyon. Wow, right out there in Colorado, there's Grand Canyon. This one little river went through there. So think about this. It's a pretty good theory. It's a pretty good theory. Is it a fact? Well, based on all the facts we had, it's pretty good. Okay? That here's this river flowing in the bottom, and we've been watching it for years, and we've been watching how much it eats away the rock, and every year, and then it's taken thousands of years. I mean, even scientists have been watching this thing. We have time. You understand our time, don't you? We have BC before Christ, and then AD after Christ was dead. It's kind of interesting. So when we say 2020, okay, that's AD. All right. I was in Pompeii. It was really fascinating. I was in Pompeii where the volcano covered the city, and it was 63 BC before Christ, 63 BC that city was flourishing. So you go ahead and add on the 2,000 years. So we've got things that are around 2,000 years. We can actually go back. We don't see it in the United States so much, but in Italy and in Europe, we see things that are 2,000 years old. We go back to, like say, Pompeii was 63 BC before Christ ever walked the earth. So we have things that are 2,000, 2,500 years, but we don't have things that are millions of years. So here we go. So let's say this is the Grand Canyon, okay? And we can literally see this. And here's this river, right? So we're figuring how many years it's taken the river to go down. So here's exactly what happened. It's really kind of cool. Once again, it's good to go study it, because you may read one study. You may even read something else and go, oh, Mr. Anderson, I don't know. There's flaws in what you're saying. And that's exactly right, because it depends on our research. So here's what I want to tell you, okay? Here's what I want to tell you. Carbon-14 is no longer the basis for knowing something's 1 million years old. Now let me show you something that just happened within your lifetime. Well, I say your lifetime, my lifetime, okay? it actually happened in 1980. Okay, so here's the Grand Canyon. So we've been watching this Stratus. So we figured out how long this goes. So we figured out how many thousands of years the river has eaten down into the Grand Canyon. So we start adding a couple thousand years. We watch a layer develop. We go, oh, that must be 2,000 years or 3,000 years. And we're like, okay, this is already 2 million. So that makes this. So we started looking at this. We're like, was the Grand Canyon there when the Earth started? We're saying, no, it wasn't. But about when water and all these different things. So we've got all these theories making the Earth 3 to 4 billion years old. Okay. Here's the thing. This is fascinating. That's why I'm excited to make this video. I don't know. You may have heard of this. You may not. If you're not thinking science, it's not all that big of news. You're like, what are they talking about? Okay. Well, Mount St. Helens. Okay, Mount St. Helens, major in Washington, major volcano, erupted. Okay, in 1980. Wow, blew the top. Magma came out. In Hawaii we have some active volcanoes. The island's still forming, but we had never had a true inner from the middle of the earth. Here comes this humongous volcano. Mount St. Helens erupts, comes and does its thing, and in a process of about 6 hours, we have this major eruption. Lava's flowing everywhere. It starts eating the ground up. Okay, it starts eating the ground up, and it makes what they call the Junior Grand Canyon. Wow. So then in 1982, they got to thinking, wow, we have been basing the Grand Canyon and the age on these on the information on two things: carbon-14, and then the amount of stratus layers and how long we thought it took to transpire, to occur, to actually make this deep canyon. Well, guess what happened? In 2 years, from 1980 to 1982, all right, Mount St. Helens because it ate away all the topsoil, it ate away all the rock, and we found these rock formations, we found fossils, we found all these things. In 2 years, we have a canyon that's 140 feet, okay, deep. So when we go to the Grand Canyon and we figure 140 feet, even though it's a lot deeper, okay, we figured that it took the 140 feet, we thought it took, what? 200 million years. Well, all of a sudden we're like, ooh. Well, based on the facts we have right now, we're finding that something's not right. Carbon-14's not working, and then our geological stratus thing. And once again, for me, I'm not going to be like, oh, well, fine, I'm burning my textbook because we found one thing wrong, what's the other? No, the age of the earth is never something we said we knew for sure. See, be careful that just because something is written, what are we looking? We're looking, what's a theory and what's a fact? What's a theory and what's a fact? We've got to have both, but things change. So in your lifetime, the age of the earth is no longer considered to be 3 to 4 billion years old. As a matter of fact, with this deal right here, we found in 2 years, we went 140 feet deep, okay, and then we have a river in the bottom. If you just woke up and you missed Mount St. Helens, you would look down in there just like we did at the Grand Canyon and go, hey, look, there's a river, and I think that river caused all that. So now they're kind of like, okay, now that we've seen Mount St. Helens, and that's a fact because we saw it. And that's a fact that's 140 feet deep because we can do what? We can touch it, we can measure it, it's concrete, we can measure it, okay? And we know how long it took because the actual volcano occurred in 1980, and in 1982 they measured it, and now, okay, and now it's actually deeper than that, okay? Because they're measuring every 2 years, and they're like, okay, now what does water really do? Okay, because now we have new facts to develop new theories. So once again, we're like, okay, what do we know and what do we don't know? We know that we know that Mount St. Helens caused this Junior Grand Canyon, so that means that it's possible that might not have been a river that caused the whole Grand Canyon. Might have had a major, we know we probably had some glaciers going through there and different things, but of all the different theories, Okay, we got to realize. So in science, we got to be like, okay, what's a theory and what's a fact? So now let me say this. I'm gonna throw this out. It's really fascinating. Okay, you're gonna hear a bunch about this. I'm not arguing for or against. I just want to present the facts. Okay, so now we have a big deal. Okay, we have a big deal. Now, once again, I'm a Christian. I believe the Bible, whether you do, whether you don't. I mean, that's really not even the issue here. And I'm not even trying to sell the Bible is correct or sell science is correct. But wow, what a deal for me when as a scientist, when I go in and people are like, science is correct, the Bible's correct. It's like, okay, if the Bible's correct, then science is wrong. If science is right, then the Bible's wrong, and so forth. Well, here's what. I saw a quote the other day that I loved. And I think it's so important that we consider this quote. It said, and this was a scientist that said it. It said science is correct. The Bible is correct. But man that interprets science and man that interprets the Bible is many times wrong. So I love that quote because what is it? We have to look at what are the direct accounts, okay? So somebody says, yeah, I saw this, in the Bible. I saw this in science. That's what that quote's saying. That's correct. If it existed and we have the history, we know what's happened there, that's correct. But man's interpretation could be wrong. So it's kind of interesting. The people that are looking at how old the earth is, it looks at genealogy in the Bible, say the earth is 6,000 years old. I don't know. For me, is that a thread that makes the Bible right or wrong? For me, that's not a thread that's going to unravel the whole thing. Was it a thread for me that said the earth is 3 to 4 billion years old, and once I found out that carbon-14 is wrong, is that a thread for me that says science is wrong and I no longer want anything to do with it? No. That's not the thread that unravels the cloth that allows me to keep learning, that allows me to keep listening, that allows me to keep looking around. What is science? Science is man's and women's curiosity about the world around them. That's what science is. We say, wow, is a scientist somebody that's so smart? No, a scientist is somebody who is curious, that looks, that wonders, that listens, that hears theories, hears facts, begins to think, okay, what if? But remember, I love that quote. The Bible's correct, science is correct, but man can be the one that's wrong. We can misinterpret those. So I want to say to you, as a scientist, as a person, as we go, and in your lifetime, isn't it going to be awesome to hear different things like this? To hear that something that we knew was a fact, carbon-14 dating, we'll put our lives on this. Okay, that it might not be fact. And you're like, okay, cool. But we got to remember those things that were theories. Okay, those things that were theories, we needed those. We needed the idea. We need somebody to throw something out. It's kind of like somebody throws one idea out and then we begin working on it. And what's the other deal I wanted to teach you through this? So important. Facts do what? Facts change based on the new information that we know. Gosh, what are you gonna find out in your lifetime? Wow, what are you gonna hear? And you're like, well, I'm not going to be doing any big discoveries. I'm not a scientist. Oh, it's so important to you as being a person, being an educated person, to hear and understand these things and go, oh, because then you're not tossed to and fro by every idea that comes across on Facebook. Okay? As a matter of fact, if you're probably smart, you're probably not the one going, oh, I'm going to put this on Facebook. You're kind of like, I think I'll just sit and watch for a little bit. So in our age and in your lifetime of information being thrown out there, take a look at it. Look at it objectively. That's why we call it education. That's why we call it education. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be alive in this day and time, and I'm so excited for you and your generation. I'm so excited to see what you're going to learn. I'm so excited to see the things that I was taught that's correct, that you're going to find out might not have been. To me, that's just honking exciting. Enjoyed the class, and just keep being good scientists, and we'll keep learning.